Hello, everyone. So I want to touch on a few of the questions in the midterm study guide, especially the calculation ones. Uh, but in this one, I'm going to touch on the histogram questions. Okay. Now, in the midterm study guide, the first few questions are reading problems. So like number one, number two, number three, those are looking at the types of data and then the levels of measurement. So that I'm going to leave it to you. Uh, the difference between a parameter and a statistic, I'm going to leave that to you again. Uh, but yeah, and then you've got to know these symbols. The first one is a sample mean. The second one is a population mean. The third one is a population standard deviation and the sample standard deviation. So I'm quickly going to move to number 8. Uh, and these 8 to 15 are all uh, histogram questions. All right, let's start with 8. Now, in 8, it says for the following histograms, determine whether the histogram is symmetric, skewed left, or skewed right. Now, for the first one, you could see that it's symmetric if you draw a line to divide the graph or the histogram into two. So A is symmetric. For B, it is skewed right. And then C, it is skewed left. And C is skewed left, okay? Now, for number 9, it says, if a data set is considered to be positively skewed or right skewed, what is the relationship between the mean and the median? So for a right skewed distribution, uh, uh, the mean is larger than the median. And I think we touched on these things in class. For number 10, if a data set is negatively skewed or left skewed, what is the relationship between the mean and the median? Again, here, the mean is less than the median. The mean is less than the median. What about 11 when it's symmetric? The mean and the median are going to be equal. The mean and median are going to be equal. Number 12, a frequency distribution is created and the lower class falls between the values 30 to 38. What is the midpoint of the class? So here we're trying to find the midpoints. That is like a middle point or a middle ground. So here you're going to add the lower class limit, which is 30, plus the upper class limit, which is 38, and divide by 2. In other words, you are finding the average of the two limits, 30 and 38. So we're going to do 30 plus 38 divided by 2. Now, if you put this in your calculator, you're getting 68 over 2, which is 34. So our midpoint of this class, 30 to 38, is 34. Now let's go to 13. In 13, we have the lower class limit is 80, the upper class limit is 91. Again, same thing, add the 2 and then divide by 2. So we're going to have 80 plus 91 divided by 2. And that should give us, let's say, 171. So we're getting 85.5. 85.5. Yeah. Okay. So that is how you find the midpoint of a class. All right. Number 14. For the following frequency histogram, answer the following questions. What proportion of data falls at or above 28? At or above 28. Now, the first thing we have to know is what a proportion is. Now, anytime you are looking at proportions, you are thinking about a fraction. So here you're supposed to get a fraction. Now, we are looking at data that falls at or above 28. Now, if you look at the histogram, this is 28. Now, going to my right or going to the right, you have 35 and then 42. So that is 28 or greater. So from 28 and above. So we're doing 28 to the end. That is 42. Now, on the x-axis or the horizontal axis, you have the classes. And then on the y-axis or the vertical axis, you have the frequency. So you are going to look at the frequencies for each of these classes going from 28 and above. So the frequency for the class 28 to 35 is 7. The frequency from 35 to 42, or the class 35 to 42, is 2. So I have 7 and 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. So I write down my 9. But what do I do then? What do I do next? Now remember, again, it's proportion. So you're doing a fraction. So you're doing 9 divided by the total frequency. And the total frequency is going to be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, plus 6 is 12, plus 7 is 19, plus 2 is 21. So 9 over 21. This is for A. Now we go to B. I would suggest that you pause the video and then try to attempt B and see if you're going to get it right. So for B, we are doing proportion of data that falls below 21. So this is 21 below. Now 21 below, you are looking at 2, 2, 2, which is 6. So for B, 21 or below, I have 6 over the total frequency, which is 21. It's the same as what we calculated over here. All right. Let's go to number 15. Now in 15, again, you have the picture of the histogram at the bottom, and A says, what proportion of data falls at or above 8? So I've got to look at 8. So I go to my histogram, and then I'm looking at 8. It's right there. Now it says at or above 8. So it's going that way, above. So I have 4, 1, and 1, which is 6. It is a proportion, so I'm looking at a fraction. The bottom is going to be the total frequency. So I have 7 plus 10 plus 4. 7 plus 10 is 17, plus 4 is 21. And then I have plus 1, which is 22, and then 23. So the total is 23. I've got 6 over 23. The last one is B, and that you're going to have what proportion of data falls below 12. So again, this is 12, so we are looking at below 12. So I've got 4, 10, and 7, which is 21, over a total of 23. Right? So these are the histogram questions. Please keep practicing so that you're going to get more confidence on the exam. Thank you. Bye.